Okay. Lens is clean. It's horizontal, so I don't have to edit switching a video around, but I wanted to show you guys my setup. So I finally got a ring light here. This is where I put my phone, and then I have notes on a hanger, and then I have a third light here, but so that's I'm recording videos for now, but I also wanted to show you I've got a little fire going. And I know I'm in Florida, but it's been raining all day and it's been very gloomy. It is now I'm just kind of missing home a little bit. Well, not home, but Colorado in general. And I've got my cinnamon apple spice. Celestial Seasonings, that's from Boulder. It's basically apple cider, but a little more spicy. Wow. Why is it spicy? So, it's got hibiscus, chamois, roasted sugary, natural cinnamon and apple flavors with other natural flavors, orange peel, and roasted carob. Well, there you go. All right, well, on to part 3 of episode 3. This is technically take 3 of all right, let's go. Hello. Since the last video, like I said, I would look up kind of influential people and more kind of trending techniques and anything else that we find cool about pottery. I stumbled across an insider video on YouTube that was the 30 most influential people in ceramics and pottery today, which that was a couple years ago, but the few people that stood out most to me, in no particular order, were John Almeida, who makes these really teeny tiny pieces of ceramics, and he even has this little wheel that he makes that he does like molds with his fingers. And then there's Dean McCrane. He even has a studio in Hawaii. He makes these clay slabs with all these different colors of clay, kind of rainbow. And then he takes those slabs and kind of molds them into different shapes and squeezes them with caulking tubes, and then uses those shapes for the final product, which is like, you know, typical plates and mugs and ceramics, but they are really pretty and remind me of a painting. And then there's Cami Meerdink, who uses leaves as like a cutout for a clay slab, and then she uses the leaf itself to kind of put an imprint in the clay, and then there's that texture on top, and then she forms those into bowls. And then there's Judith Ernst, who has these big, thick, textured pieces of pottery in vases or vases that kind of remind me of like dragon scales, just how thick the pieces of clay that she uses to kind of layer around these pieces of pottery. There's Heidi Yang, who uses bubbles in the glaze that she uses. It kind of creates these really unique textured looking pieces. And then there's Hugh Hope, who he uses wax so that when he glazes anything that's not waxed, it doesn't get glazed, and then it kind of creates these images and drawings on the pot themselves that kind of through the contrast is how these shapes kind of pop out is when they're not glazed. There's Katie Marks, who is another kind of colorful artist like Dean McCrane, but she also does these kind of geological kind of crystal protrusions off these mugs and these plates that look like little amethysts and quartz crystals that pop out of the mugs. So that's cool. There's Eric Landon, who gets really kind of physical with his pots and gets his arm in there, kind of twists it up, and then there's these kind of ribbed features that he like collapses the clay in on itself too. That's if you want some visual ASMR videos, I would highly suggest Insider's video that I'll put down in the description. But the last one, or one of the last ones, was Lori Phillips, who Insider described her art as, some of her art is Hobbit inspired, and there's all these like fungi and little moss that she like pushes clay through a strainer, and it creates these little thin lines that she's kind of delicately places on these pots to make it look like moss, and it's really cool. All of these people are called ceramicists, which I think I've been just saying people who make pottery. So it's nice to kind of finally have a word for that profession. Another ceramicist that I stumbled into was Anne Van Hooley, who is another clay slab ceramicist who does these really elegant kind of geometric, kind of almost origami shapes. She'll take these slabs and cut a circle, and then she'll take some scissors and cut kind of folds into the pottery, at least for one thing that she does, and she kind of folds it up so it's still functional. But it's really simple and elegant, and something that I think I would either be good at or something that I would love to have around my house. And then the final documentary that I watched was about this guy in the UK. His name is Richard Badaram. This documentary also has David Attenborough in it, so if anything else, if you're a fan of David Attenborough and his voice, that in itself is a reason to go watch this video. I will also post in the description. But he had been doing pottery for at least 60 years in the same house that he lived in for that same amount of time, and he doesn't really change anything up. He has made almost the same pots and tea kettles, which are essential to the UK lifestyle, and mugs and bowls for the past 60 years. And he mentioned something about like not changing the status quo, but you're still kind of improving on even the slightest detail, which I think people can take for granted, just the ability to still be able to kind of fine-tune our lives in a way that doesn't require these big extravagant moments that we have to kind of it doesn't take much to really change the environment. And then the biggest thing that had an impact on me in this video was he was mentioning that what he does, the biggest thing about what he does and kind of affects what he does, he said it's all about communication. If you make things which people can do things with, you're halfway with them. And so I really admired that, to kind of not just in pottery, but it really made me think about kind of art in general, of like how to communicate deep down of what we're trying to help other people with, and not only ourselves, but it's a halfway point of at least an icebreaker for a lot of these artists to kind of talk about certain things that might not be able to be communicated just through verbal. And so it's nice to see a physical process that, even though we could use it every day, be a vessel for something more psychologically based. So next week is kind of the grand finale. Like I said in the last video, I've got a little pot that I made, and I can't wait to show you guys that, and show you guys the discussion that I had with Salem at the park, and go from there. Okay, bye, love you.